In today's video, we're going to be talking about Barcelona's new potential third, more details on the BRAWL10K, and day 6 of European FusionRL tournament action. If you guys haven't seen the rumors that have been circulating, there is potential of a player making a strong comeback into the RLCS as the new third for Barcelona. A lot of people aren't going to recognize this name, kind of a relic of the past. But a young player by the name of Itachi, based out of Morocco, is potentially going to be playing in the RLCS. Ironically, for those that don't know who Itachi is, there's a lot of history behind this player. If we take a jump back in history, March 15th, Zen Talks officially made it into the RLCS, but was then disqualified due to being in a country of residence that was not eligible to play in the RLCS, in this case being Morocco. Later that day, he put out a tweet saying, "Please stop blaming my teammates," or "hello," whoever it is. "It's all on me," and that he was the one that made the mistake. We now jump 3 years and half a month into the future, and Itachi has put out a tweet saying that he is happy to announce that he will be able to play in the next season of RLCS. So after 3 years of waiting, he is now able to compete for the very first time, and I am so happy. It's kind of hard to explain who Itachi was when Zen Talks first came into the scene, especially because we had a lot of really big names that we assumed were going to dominate over everybody. And for the most part, that was true. But back in the early days of RLCS, there was no RLRS. There was no guaranteed spots. It was an open bracket, open qualifiers for everybody. And if you didn't make it in that double elimination, you were out and had to sit on your keister for 3 months. So Itachi and the boys from Zen Talks made a hero run into the RLCS, and it caught us all off guard. And they looked absolutely phenomenal. But due to the ineligibility, they had to get booted, and we never really got to see this story come to fruition. So the fact that it's been now 3 years and we finally got to see this happen, or potentially happen, has me really excited as an old-timer in the Rocket League scene. Some of you may ask, what's the difference now? And a lot of this, from what it looks like, is the fact that he is going to be moving to France. That is the speculation. As of right now, the reason why is because Itachi is supposed to be moving to France. That's what all the rumors are pointing to. Which puts him in an eligible country along with all the other French players that are dominating RLCS. So based upon my assumptions, Itachi is going to be the next best thing in the RLCS if it ends up happening. So I did a little bit more digging, and I actually ended up finding the Season 3 brackets on how this all played out to kind of give you guys an idea of some of the names that were coming into the scene at this point. As I mentioned, the bracket in the past was open to all, every single team, Flipside, Gale Force, Northern Gaming, all these teams had to play in an open qualifier against each other, and it was a massive tournament with like thousands of teams. But eventually it ended up becoming into what the RLCS is, where the top 32, if they ended up making it through the first day, ended up coming back to the second day. So these guys made it through to that second day, and in winners round 1, they ended up going up against a team by the name of Urban Myths. You may recognize some of the players on Urban Myths: Doomsy, Sebadom, Bluey, Repex, players from teams that you may recognize, some more than others. So they lost to Urban Myths, Bluey and the guys, and ended up dropping to the lower bracket, where they ended up going against 5 teams to end up qualifying for the RLCS. Some of the more recognizable names that they had to go through to get there: Ignite, Frizz or Frizish. There's a reason why he changed his name to Freeze, but Frizish was, how do you say it? Frizish. I can't even say his name to this day, and it's been legitimately 3+ years. But he changed it to Frizz and is another player like Sebadom, who are relics of the past. They ended up qualifying into the RLCS over the team by the name of Red Eye, with players like Dudu, Skyline, and Tequilas. Names that I know that probably a ton of you don't realize how big of a deal that is. To kind of explain the teams that they qualified with, it would have been in a class with Flipside Tactics, Gale Force Esports, Northern Gaming, Resonant Esports, Cownose, Mocket Esports, The Leftovers, and then it would have been Zen Talks, but it ended up becoming Red Eye, who ended up getting the spot instead because of the disqualification. Again, I'm pretty keen on Itachi. I'm excited to see what happens. Either way, really fun trip down memory lane for me. Also, as an update for the BRAWL10K, if you guys haven't seen the new details that I've put out on Twitter, 2 things were announced today. The first one being that the commentators for the BRAWL10K have been announced. It will be myself and CJ on the main channel for my stream, and Shogun and Brody Leafx more on the B stream for ESPN Esports. The other thing announced is G2 has officially confirmed their spot and has been making it public, so The team that everybody is gunning for will be playing in the Brawl 10K. More teams are going to be announced leading up to the event over the next course of a week and a half, so keep your eyes glued to my Twitter. Link to my Twitter can be found down below in the description. Jumping over to today's results for FusionRL, we've got up first in the 3v3 Oxygen versus Dignitas. We've got Astral playing against his old team, and boy oh boy did they look good. Oxygen is vibing, and my favorite thing still remains the same, and it is Farah's involvement on the squad. I don't think Astral scored a single goal the entire series, and it was kind of refreshing. The ability to see that him translating into these passes and these new level of aggression. I ended up in my watch party. Chrome ended up stopping by, and he and I both agreed, like, this team looks like they could be absolutely stellar, and it is only going to get better. They control the field well, they apply a lot of aggression, and it has been the first time in a very long time that I have seen Oxygen up on offense. On the other side in Dignitas, it has been kind of a work in progress. It doesn't feel like the team is meshing together as well as possible, and it seems like Yukio is in the odd man out. And a lot of that focus is probably because Yora's, being the mechanical genius that he is getting all the praise, while Yukio is being blamed for most of the mistakes. A lot of people fail to realize that there is a different approach that you may need to take to this. May not be something that you recognize, but there could be the fact that with the way Yora's is playing, it is forcing Yukio to be a bit more hesitant or not go for the ball as soon as he normally would. This is something that is going to get ironed out, and it takes time. So I would make sure people hold off their initial thoughts on Dignitas until we see this team develop a little bit more. This exact same thing happened when Astro was initially brought on. Overall, Oxygen is meshing very well and looking extremely lethal on offense and defense. I can't count the amount of times that ball should have went in for Dignitas and they were able to scoop it out and relieve themselves of that pressure. In the 2v2, we had Oxygen go up against Singularity, and it was more of the same. Shazette and Astral just being dominant, and it leads to a really good grand final, but though and Nolly put up a pretty good fight, they do keep it close, and I'm glad they started off with that combination at the beginning. But again, overall, Oxygen was the one to be dominant. It seems like Shazette and Astral are really feeling good. The follow-up is there, the creativity is there, the passes are there. It's just a matter of how aggressive are they going to be able to be against Vitality, which is going to be more of the interesting one that we're kind of focused on. Singularity was outmatched here just by pure talent. The last match of the day, we got the 1v1 between apparently Jack and Vitality, and the reason why I say Vitality is because it started with Fairy Peak, but it was put away by Alpha. Apparently Jack did not back down, and his aggressive, super fast, in-your-face playstyle did not suit Fairy Peak's wanting to be a little bit more passive, a little bit slower, a little bit more defensive. Jack really took advantage of the pace and controlled the outcome of the game when he was up against Fairy Peak. We then jump over to Game 4, and Alpha just honestly looked like he was playing with 1.5 times boost. My Discord was joking about it, but overall, it just looks like Alpha plays at a different level. I had a really long discussion about the fact that Alpha is a player that the setup that he goes into for a flip reset, it does not matter what his setup is, where he is on the field. If he wants to hit a flip reset, he is going to hit it. I do not think I have ever seen Astral miss a flip reset. And I don't mean like flip reset into a shot and him getting the goal. I mean him actually connecting with the ball and then being able to use a second flip. I've never seen him miss the setup of it, ever. I've talked about numerous times that when you have the ability to sit and watch Astral from his perspective, he does things that are absolutely insane. And that continues. His pacing, the ability to punish, his shooting accuracy, his creativity is even more exemplified in ones. And this is what I'm talking about with Vitality. They are a triple threat on every person on the field. A lot of people respect Fairy as a 1v1 player. Astral's just as good, and I guarantee if K-Dot put the time and effort, he could do it as well. And that's what makes them so dangerous. Every single player is fully capable of putting in effort and applying pressure in whatever aspect they need to. They are a triple threat. Everybody should be worried about every player on that team, and that respect shows, and it's going to take certain players like the apparently Jacks that, despite respecting it, aren't afraid to aggress. That's probably the biggest take from this series. Apparently Jack went up against Alpha and Fairy Peak, two of the best players in 1v1s in Europe. They are definitely both in the leaderboards, and he stuck it to him a little bit. Multiple overtimes, the ability to go neck and neck, coming down to the wire. I mean, Game 7 against Alpha and Fairy Peak is one dude, and it goes to OT 58 seconds, and it's 7-8. Unfortunately, he's not on the winning end. But, like, this is multiple times that he has gone the distance and is proving himself as a player. And again, I urge anybody watching these videos, if you do not know these players and you notice them streaming or trying to do something, please go and support them. I also urge my chat. We didn't get to see apparently Jack versus O'Khaled. Maybe we should go talk to Johnny Boy and be like, please set up this show match, because I would love to see what would have happened if they did play. So things like that, doesn't hurt to be advocate. Go be ambitious about it, and maybe Johnny Boy will put on the match for us and we get a little bit extra. With that, the only things we have left are the grand finals. In the 3v3, Vitality versus Oxygen. In the 2v2, Vitality versus Oxygen. And in the 1v1, Sandrock Gaming versus Vitality. Now, as the point total stands right now, Vitality has 21 points and Oxygen has 14 points. Those are the only two that have a chance, and the only way Oxygen wins is if they take first place in both the 3s and the 2s. If they do not do that, and if they lose any of their matches, it is over. Vitality wins. I think the true test for Oxygen is going to be against Vitality. I think Dignitas let up a little bit more than they should have, but again, I'm curious to see on what this Oxygen esports team is truly made of. In the 2v2, no one is going to beat Vitality. There is not a chance in my mind that lets that happen. And Sandrock Gaming's O'Khaled has the ability to play spoilers. So again, it could be interesting to see what happens, but it really comes down to Oxygen. They just have to win both their matches. And for the top comment of the day, Scrumptious Bizquits says, it's pretty clear that G2 and Vitality are currently the best teams in the world. So how do you think a team can take them down, or what approach should they take to at least stand a chance in this hypothetical team isn't limited by player skill, lack of synergy, or other such things? So I actually love this question. There's a lot to it, and it makes me really excited for the Rocket League of the future and why LAN is as special as it is. If you take and look back at all the major LAN moments, a lot of the time of the best teams playing against the best teams is you get to see a new level of Rocket League. If you think back to season 5, 6, 7, 8, every single time we're like, nothing's going to top that moment. Nothing's going to top that moment. There's no way this moment can be topped because each and every event has just been insane. And part of the reason why is because Rocket League as a game is still developing its skill level. It is a ceiling that cannot be reached because it is a human element based physics game. No one can play perfect. We have not seen that yet. It is not possible because the human element will always provide faults. People will always make mistakes. And every season, people get better, and we always get to see this next level of play pushed to its further limits. And that's what G2 and Vitality and their importance to the scene really mean, is when you have two teams that are absolutely dominant with the ability to build that dynasty, which is funny that these comments are becoming more of like a mini-series within each video, which I'm actually kind of loving. I think this is awesome. This type of thing is what drives the esport to that next level. When you have easy fan bases to follow. Yo, this team's the best team in NA. This is the best team in EU. The rest are kind of underdogs, but these are your best two. If you want to follow them, go ahead. Makes it really easy for me to promote that to a person on the outside. And it makes people who watch the esport for the first time really easy for them to grasp the concept of what's happening and allows them to become more invested, which is fantastic for us. It's what we want. So in order for people to play and beat Vitality and beat G2, the real thing that's working well is these guys understand the core fundamentals of what the game is. They know how to spread and be positioned on the field so when the ball goes to a certain spot, someone is there to react and answer to that. And until these two teams clash and come together and fight each other, we don't get to see really what happens unless someone can step up to the plate. You're talking a G2, in my opinion, is fundamentally really talented at working the field, doing the simple things, passes, making sure shots and everything else. But they do have the capabilities to go for the high flashy stuff. We've seen JNaps in the knapsack. We've seen Chicago pop off in the past. Rizzo's demos and stuff opens up opportunities. The antithesis to that is Vitality. Super mechanics heavy, really in your face, has the ability to win challenges, create opportunities, but you see a lot more flash, which is weird because normally we get that out of NA, while EU is the more grounded, the more pass-centric, very similar to why Dignitas was so strong. The thing that makes G2 very talented is G2 does the EU playstyle the best in North America, and it is why they have been so dominant. The ability to pass infield in front of the net and put a shot on target is why G2 is dominant, and the reason why they can continue to do that is because they do not overlap, they space on the field really well, and it is constantly dished. So, to answer your question, what do teams need to do? They need to emulate that playstyle. They need to step up to that meta per se and recreate spacing on the field, working numerous spots and creating opportunities. If you can't get past the defender, you have to find out ways to use that space that you're giving yourself to draw those defenders out. You can do bumps, demos, shots above the backboard, things and ways to make those teams expend their boost. So when they do make a jump, they can't get there in time and then deny their boost at the same time. It's a lot of things going on for pro play and at a very quick level. And that's what makes Rocket League so exciting. With that said, I will say if Vitality and G2 met in the finals, I'm still picking Vitality. That is going to wrap it up for me in this video. If you guys enjoyed the content, as always, drop the comments down below, questions, concerns, ideas, whatever you want, and you may find yourself featured in the video. But if you guys enjoyed the content, give it a thumbs up, and as well as make sure you hit the sub button, turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the daily uploads. The channel is starting to grow, and it wouldn't be without the fact that you guys are coming to support it. So if you guys do enjoy the content, make sure you do what you can to support it, and I will continue to pump this out as quickly as possible. We'll see you next time. Peace.